how I got into consulting in Germany and how you can too. Most people think consulting in Germany is locked behind a perfect GPA, either native German or secret connection. Well, some of it might be true, but that is definitely not it. I didn't have the perfect formula. However, what I did have was a solid plan. That plan helped me land Deloitte within a month of graduating from LMU Munich, and so can you. Today, I'll show you exactly how I did it and how you can copy the parts that work, even if you're starting from zero. If I can make it into consulting in Germany, so can you. So let's go and get you into consulting. Why being inside beats reading about it? Stay with me as there's a simple case prep and a German language routine that got me past interviews faster. As a student, I worked at EY Parthenon and BCG. Those weren't in classic consultant titles, but they were game changers. Once you're in the building, you see how consultants think. The slide creation logic, their day-to-day rhythm, what managers actually do, how decks are structured, and how feedback flies around. Even just seeing the PowerPoints gives you instincts which outsiders don't have. If you want to get into consulting in Germany, working student or internships at a consulting firm aren't nice to have, they're your fast track to the job itself. If your CV carries consulting logos, recruiters read that as a lower ramp-up risk. That means that you are the most suitable person for the job, as you can easily scale up. If you're serious about consulting in Germany, language is part of the service you sell. My Deloitte interviews were entirely in German. That is common, and that is how it is at most consulting firms. Clients pay 1,200 to 1,300 euros per day for a consultant. Therefore, the least they expect is smooth communication. Whether it be meetings, workshops, or corridor chats, you need to be able to walk and talk the German language. Look, you don't need to be poetic or 100% grammatically correct, but you must be comfortable, confident, and clear in your communication. If you're not there yet, please focus and learn the language and keep pushing to B2 level at least. You need to be able to converse and pass interviews in the German language. And yes, even the case studies are in German. I had multiple final rounds including Roland Berger and DHL Consulting and still got a no. That rejection made my Deloitte yes come faster. Let's get into the details. After I graduated from my master's from University of Munich, I applied everywhere. To name a few in-house consulting companies, I applied to places like Eon Consulting, DHL Consulting, RWE Consulting, Mercedes-Benz Consulting, as well as some external consulting companies such as the Big Four and strategy firms such as McKinsey, Bain, Roland Berger, and boutique firms like Omax. I reached the final rounds at DHL Consulting, RWE Consulting, Mercedes-Benz Consulting, as well as Roland Berger Consulting. However, my German wasn't yet on the strategy level, so they passed. It was really painful but useful at the same time. However, in my case with Deloitte, they moved pretty fast. I had the offer within a month of graduating. And here is what flipped the switch from interviews to the offer. I still remember that I had a case study where I had to create a project roadmap/budget and an outline about the automotive software as a service project in PowerPoint within 20 minutes. The question is, how did I do it in just 20 minutes? Here is the secret. I was actually already aware and prepared that they could ask me to create PowerPoint slides. So I already had a final presentation open from one of my university projects, which included all the relevant slides. What I did in those 20 minutes was copy and paste the relevant slides which fitted the ask of the case and made up the numbers based on the information given to me. I redid the slides within 20 minutes and that was a success. And to be honest, that is exactly what most of the job is like. Recreating PowerPoints super fast. I also had a Hugo Boss project management offer, but I chose Berlin and Deloitte over relocating to Metzingen, that's where the headquarters are. How to prepare case studies without burning out. You don't need to be a math genius to be able to solve consulting case studies. You simply need structure, clarity, and execution. What worked for me was using the book called Case in Point. This book helped me to train clean structures. Yes, I know it is US oriented and more in the direction of MBB, but you can't ignore that it builds the muscle for case interviews. Additionally, I use Prep Lounge for real cases with live practice partners. This personally was a game changer for me. The more times you put yourself in a case interview situation, the more familiar you get with asking the right questions and keeping the structure required. To be honest, you don't need to be super smart to solve case studies. You just need to build the right muscle which can solve cases. And anyone can do that if you practice more and more cases. On top of this, I ran a small university group which practiced 1 to 2 cases per week, where one person interviews and the other person answers. And then we switch. The magic is volume plus feedback. After approximately 100 plus cases, you build industry pattern recognition in consumer, energy, logistics, etc. Each has 8 or 9 usual levers that you can use. That is why veteran case solvers sound calm. They've seen the shapes and know quite well what would be the right fit. A simple pro tip from my side is to check your interviewer's industry background on LinkedIn before the interview, or try to ask someone who is already in the company where you are interviewing to check for the projects that the interviewer has done in the past. This information can be useful and is also easy to get. For example, if they did several projects in, let's say, automotive, then there is no guarantee but a high chance that you can expect an automotive flavored case. That is how I would do it. One important thing you should know about consulting is that clients don't pay for words like I think, maybe, possibly. This shows uncertainty in your voice and tone. Clients pay for structured and actionable thinking and recommendations. Your tone should be confident, but also not arrogant. For example, based on X and Y, the highest leverage path is A. We execute A in 3 steps. Risks are R1 and R2. Quick wins are Q1 and Q2. That is exactly how consultants communicate. You can't have words like I believe or I am sure. Notice that there is a decision, a plan, and risk control. There is no rambling, no maybe words, and that is how consultants communicate. If I had to start today, here is the fastest route. I would first get inside a consulting company via a working student role or an internship. This is important as logos and exposure create momentum. I would compress my CV to a single page with a short summary that mirrors consulting keywords like analysis, structure, stakeholder management, and ownership. And I'd also end every experience line with a number. I'd also keep a steady case cadence of 2 per week, every week using partners or Prep Lounge, and I'd track mistakes in a journal log. I'd keep language momentum with 30 to 40 minutes of German daily. And finally, I do targeted outreach with smart LinkedIn messages to people on the exact teams I want to be part of. 2 or 3 good conversations beat a lot of cold blasts. I'm sure that these 2 things moved the needle for me. Being inside EY Parthenon and BCG while studying demystified the job and signaled the right fit for me. Sticking to steady case practice as well as CV formation, which has a consultant-like structure, really helped me. I also chose the life I wanted this job. I passed on a strong brand at Hugo Boss because I did not want that location trade-off back then. Berlin plus Deloitte fit my rhythm for sure. It wasn't luck, it was identity. I behaved like a consultant before I had the title. Yes, I did have to travel a lot for work and it was pretty hectic. But when you are starting in your career, the grind is important, especially if you need to prove yourself as a corporate slave. Maybe I would cover my experience at Deloitte in a different video, but if you are interested, then please comment so that I know what to make next. Some final words from me. Consulting in Germany isn't a secret club. I got in because I got inside early, practiced cases consistently, kept my German moving, and told my story in a way recruiters understood. You can do the same. If this helped, hit like and subscribe and comment interview if you want me to do a full breakdown of German language, behavioral answers, as well as life case frameworks. I'll make it if enough of you ask. So see you in the next one, and remember, be smart.